Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who has brought us thus far on our way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray. Blessed our feet, straight from the places, our God, where we met thee. Blessed our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever land. True to our God, true to our native land.
All right.
Wow, that
Well,
was
here we
nice.
are. Better
Hey,
than the
you
Star
on
Spangled
mute.
Banner. Why we can't hear you? There you go.
All right. Where am I at? Okay.
Welcome to the My Atkinson Show.
I'm hearing double. I don't know where else.
Are you in Gather?
No. You guys don't hear it? I'm not.
I do not.
Okay.
You got YouTube open?
All right. Well, we're going to start off with Durante Lamar while I figure out what tab I have. Let's see. Who are you? And so what we'll do early is the elevator pitch. If there's anybody that hasn't seen you, sorry, I'm hearing double. This is driving me nuts. Do your elevator pitch, and I'm going to figure this out.
Cool. All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Durante Lamar. I am a former pastor, colloquially called ex-pastor. My whole spiel is after I left the faith, I spent 10 years in the closet. During that time, I've been pondering ways to build secular community, realizing that was a major pain point for me. Having to leave something that I had spent my whole life ultimately dedicated to. It was pretty much my entire identity. And then leaving it and having ultimately nothing, having to rebuild all over again. And I realized that's fairly detrimental and may be a real reason why some people don't critically engage their faith, is because there's nowhere to go after that. So ever since then, I've kind of styled myself as this progressive thinking, people-centric, life-affirming, atheistic human who's trying to do his best to build some community out here. And that's me in a nutshell. And you are muted again.
I am muted again. Sorry. All right. But I did find it, so I'm not going crazy anymore.
Okay, you got it worked out?
Yeah. Holy crap. It was
Okay.
because I always have two things open, and one's for the fan funding, and then the other one's for the what do you call it, the regular chat, because in the stream it's all the same color. So when people are adding me, or if there's like doing something crazy, I can't always see it. So I want to make sure that I'm like seeing the big things like the super chats and the raids. And so I do want to thank Regios for gifting us 10 more cultists. And again, Lieutenant Jedi for gifting us 10 more cultists. All 20 of you, welcome to the fam. Welcome to the fam. We are so happy you're here. And let's see.
All right.
And let's see. I haven't been in this one in a while. Jay, I don't know if there's anybody who doesn't know you or at least remember you from other shows. You were just on here about 2 months ago?
Yeah, I'm Dr. J Bundy. My channel's Pocket Locker 86. My community's dope. I got a debate coming up on the 19th of July with Michael Behe, but why? That's on Michael Beverly's channel. Happy Pride Month. Yeah, I don't know. Maya, what else am I supposed to say?
Why?
I'm an evolutionary biologist.
No, like, why are you debating Michael B?
Because I'm an evolutionary biologist. I'm highly offended by the things this man says on the internet, and even more offended by the things he says when he's not on the internet. So don't
like
tune
in. On Twitter, like what is he? I don't
life, like as a pretend academic, just as a science deep fake.
Yeah.
He comes with a warning label. I'll put it that way. Not many academics actually come with real warning labels. Like the Surgeon General is like, "Do not consume. This is bad for your health.
This may cause cancer."
Yeah, seriously.
You know what? I'm gonna regret this, but what does he do? Like,
he's the irreducible complexity guy.
Oh.
And so what he does is he pretends that that's a scientific idea.
Mm.
Okay.
And that science should be expanded to include some notions which might traditionally be considered philosophical or even theological.
Oh, so he sounds like he studied under Terrence Howard.
He did.
All right. I was just trying to everybody. So we do not have our own Mr. Tapio.
Pocket Locker 86. That's where you need to go. Go subscribe.
Locker
Yeah.
86.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go over there for that bullshit. We just laugh at people. We don't engage with them directly because I mean they're like zoo creatures, right?
That's a pretty good MO. It's a pretty good MO. That's mostly how I roll too. I mostly say things about people that, to be honest, you shouldn't say to people's faces. It's not, you don't make a lot of friends that way. So
I'm not interested in those kind of friends at this moment in my life.
Yeah, you'll see. I'm sure most of the people I debate won't be sending me any Christmas cards.
No, not even Rebecca, your best friend ever.
No, although Bree, shout out to Bree, subscribe to Hive Psi and the transpositions.
Bree, show yourself out.
Bree was getting me to think, maybe we should give Rebecca a chance.
Why?
Especially it's Prime. She is an ally. We should give Rebecca her credit.
She's an LGBT ally.
Yeah. Yes.
She's not a science ally.
Not at all. Not even a little bit. Not even remotely. That's the tension.
But
we're being positive. We're say something nice. I was trying to say something nice about her. I don't do that a lot. So I'm trying to be on the record saying something kind about Rebecca Davis.
Yeah, you've been really mean to her.
Okay, I earned that. It's true.
Am I wrong?
No.
I mean, you went on an apology tour after one of your videos.
No, wow, I was mean to her.
I missed an apology tour?
Oh, I must have missed it too. Because I probably went back to saying the same thing.
I mean, You took 2 months off. We did appreciate that.
Oh yeah, we did stop
Oh,
talking about it for a
wow.
little bit. Yeah, yeah.
That's
All right.
hilarious.
So Jay, Durante, this is your first time here.
Hmm.
Jay's been here. I want to say this is your. Oh wait, yeah. I was saying for Dr. Tapioca was taking the week off, so Jay's here, helping me with the well, not really helping with anything here, but
Yeah.
co-guesting, I guess, with Durante.
Being another doctor,
Yeah.
just sitting in the reserve doctor seat.
Jumping off, I don't know, it's our pre-Juneteenth stream. And I'll have a premiere coming up on Wednesday. Jay, Durante, are you guys doing anything for Juneteenth?
Juneteenth. Nope, that's right around the corner.
No,
I am not.
It's
no.
Wednesday.
Yep.
Wednesday, yeah. Yeah, I'll be available.
Really?
I'll
Are you
be
taking
available.
a day off? Something? No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm trying to take the day off. Yeah, they got some stuff they trying to do, but I'm gonna have to tell them y'all shouldn't be doing this.
I am privileged to work for a company that recognizes Juneteenth, so I have that day off.
I will say that in academia, there's a lot of holidays that feel kind of in the air. Like if you say something, then you can take it, but a lot of people might work through it. But listen, I'm gonna just say this. I think that's some really poor taste, especially with Juneteenth. If you're gonna make it a national holiday, it has to be something that's serious, and it can't be something that I have to say something or request, or it should just be something that they know. The reason I'm giving a little bit of grace is because it is a newer holiday, and there are people who just don't even realize it right away. But it has to get more like the 4th of July, where it's just in your consciousness. It's June, and you start realizing, okay, it's going to be June 19th, and I gotta make sure that holiday is recognized, because otherwise it feels like people don't care, and I don't want a reminder that people don't care. I don't need an extra reminder that people don't care about race.
Right.
Yeah, it really has been feeling like that lately. I know a lot of things have been going on, and everybody's rights are under attack. But after 4 decades of feeling like we've been brushed under the rug, I'm like,
yeah.
Do we have to have a string of Black men in a row caught on camera being gunned down by police again before somebody thinks, oh yeah, the Black people? It's a little disheartening that it takes that much for people to remember that they forgot us.
And it feels like they won't. I don't even know if they'll muster that same energy. There was so much energy that people had with George Floyd, because I think there's so many of these. Every couple years there's another one that sort of dominates the news headlines, and it felt like that was really a energy I hadn't seen before. And I just wonder how much of that you would even see again, unfortunately.
Well, I think for me, I think the thing that was really troubling for me, because when the Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin thing happened, that was when I was going through my deconversion. The problem for me was that this was energy I had seen before. I saw this. What was this guy's name? Can't we all just get along?
Rodney King.
Rodney King. I witnessed this with Rodney King, and then I saw it with Trayvon Martin and Mike Brown. Then I saw it with George Floyd. And then what was interesting about the George Floyd situation is people were literally protesting over the I can't breathe situation, as if we weren't just protesting those exact same words 2 years earlier. And it seems to me that America is fine with having these moments of upheaval where we protest, and then, like you both just kind of reiterated, absolutely fine forgetting it after it happens. And then once it happens again, America kind of just treats it like this is the first time they've ever seen this before.
Yeah.
And everybody gets all up in a roar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we all have a surprise next month for everybody. So we'll be taking up a lot of issues about this coming up. we'll all be talking about it more in our respective
channels.
Thank you. Getting closer to the date once we have everything finalized. But if you want to hear more hurtful, discussions like this, please join us. And it will definitely be next month, and we'll have more to come, definitely. Also, now that that's done, it's done-ish. Jay, I love you. I'm gonna have to break your brain again.
All right.
Oh, this is it.
So you said you don't know who Billy Carson is.
No, I don't know who Billy Carson is.
You gonna learn today. Let's go.
How we all got to be different races.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Wow. That's a bad start.
It's a bad start. That's a bad start. Andrew Schultz is flagrant.
So flagrant is it's kind of Joe Rogan-esque. It's two comedians that talk to different people. So who they are, I mean, they're not, I don't know, at least not in this one. I don't know. I mean, I've seen a handful of their stuff. Usually it's them talking to people like this, Graham Hancock. These are the people that run through my feed, at least. They just like kind of sit back and, let them go. And they want to hear all like, how crazy are you?
Sure. Yeah.
Crazy, huh? Tell me more about your craziness. Like that's more,
it's like putting it out front, flagrant.
Yeah, just get it out there. It's not like the Joe Rogan, like, yeah, I totally agree with that. Wait, you disagree with the guy who's on that last week? I thought I agreed with him, but you're more convinced. Like, none of that.
Yes.
Oh, it's Joe Rogan.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, they just, like as Tap likes to say, they just let them cook. So, normally I'm over here playing, what do you call it? Producer. Today I'm going to be on the video. If I'm going to try my best not to miss any super chats or 20 gifted memberships. Thank you, Tapioca Weasel, for gifting yourself 20 more cultists. Like, holy shit.
Tap's the pastor that invested it all back into the new building fund,
Right. All right. So, if there's, I'm not going to let it go more than 10 seconds, but if you have anything that you're just like, whoa, hold up, like, please, let me, tell me to stop. All right.
Oh, we're going to be doing a lot of stopping here.
A lot of stopping. Here we go.
Yeah.
That goes back to...
How did that happen?
Yeah, that goes back to the Tower of Babel incident in the Bible, which comes out of the Sumerian tablets.
Okay, explain.
Yeah, so after... I thought the Tower of Babel is just when our languages got mixed up, but apparently it's when our races did too.
Interesting. That's just...
Isn't it?
What I love is the way he asked the question. Yeah, so when did that happen? It's definitely giving off gaslighting vibes.
I'm telling you, though.
What ancient Sumeria is real quick, because we keep referencing it, and I also want to understand.
Well, ancient Sumeria is a location right now would be Iraq.
Right.
All right, and Iraq, which at that time was extended part of what Africa actually is, believe it or not.
And I don't recall that being a thing. Iraq being an extension of
No, but I know that that's their narrative, that's kind of how they see it. And, I think it's largely, it's the Middle East-ish. So, Iraq?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like
like an offshoot.
We're all African, so technically.
Sounds about right. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, citation needed for sure, Fern.
All right, $2 from Knobhead. I hope no super chats get missed. No pressure.
Also, I love this one comment we have from, I think it's Caden.
Caden says a lot of stuff. What's Caden got today?
Caden said there's only two possible 3 human origin scenarios I subscribe to. Two possible 3 human origin scenarios. I'm gonna just let y'all do the math. Number 1, Adam and Eve. Number 2, evolution. Number 3, aliens.
All right.
You know what? I love Caden because Caden knows aliens is always the answer.
That's it.
You know, it's kind of like there are only 3 possible reasons things fall to the ground: magic, gravity, or aliens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pyramids
that's right. Aliens. One of those 3 is true.
One of those 3.
It's one of those 3.
Or not. But it was a multicultural location.
Got it.
The people there were advanced beyond belief. They had achieved a high level of advanced construction, waterways, irrigation, mathematics.
Is this Tigris and Euphrates?
So, I mean, if you're talking about like, I don't know when the Tower of Babel was supposed to be. I mean, I've seen a lot of like Petra, you know, when I looked at the city, they were like, yeah, they had like, you know, these engineers who figured out a way to, I forget the river that was over there, but they altered it so that the river could go through that little piece of land so that it wasn't like a barren wasteland. They could actually have a thriving metropolis. And, you know, the animations of what it probably looked like are beautiful. I mean, it's just, you know, and then they had dams because there were times when, you know, there's, I can never think on Sundays. What do you call it? Like a you know, heavy rain periods and things like that. And then they were able to save water for droughts and, you know, so on and so forth. So, I mean, I think they were smarter than we generally give them credit for.
Yeah.
However, when he says they were advanced, you know, he means they were brown. Therefore, I must believe that aliens gave them technology that they shouldn't have had.
Yep.
Yeah, or that they were advanced relative to what we would consider advanced today.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes
way
even in a sense that
measures.
Implies beyond, what we've achieved currently. And also, this is the Rogan spirit. That guy, him, they're all like that same failed comedian, makes decent podcaster thing. And now the apologists are like using the same sort of aesthetic and style. So it's spreading.
What I found interesting is the phraseology he used here. He said advanced beyond belief. If something is advanced beyond belief, that also means it's advanced beyond verification. So, like, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about at that moment and how you're talking about. That's a good point.
I mean, I think it would be advanced beyond belief because, like, we're not really told much about these countries. You know, like I remember getting history, and it's all European history.
Oh yeah.
You know, so. And then there was like the brown people that lived over there that we don't even need to talk about because they couldn't keep up with the Europeans. Like that was kind of the vibe I got from it, right?
For sure.
So they might have been, they were doing things that weren't done in Europe. So maybe it might be advanced beyond belief, but that doesn't.
But also, this is the problem too with a lot of people is the conflation of myth and pseudo-history.
Yes.
And so even to the extent that older cultures did have libraries and knowledge and the proto-equivalent of what we might even consider sciences and things like that, that doesn't lend credibility to the Tower of Babel story, right? You know,
right?
So that's where the make it make sense effort doesn't really add up.
But isn't it funny that these guys they all seem to pick question marks, things that they know are question marks in everybody's mind, and then attach something definitive to it. So, you know, he says, yeah, the Tower of Babel is here. Like everybody knows that. And it's like,
Right.
no, well, no, Tower of Babel. This is a huge question mark that you've now just attached something definitive to, which is kind of his whole spiel, is that I know something that you don't know, and I'm blessing you with this warm, sweet knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Between the Tigris and the Euphrates, where the Garden of Eden is located.
Got it. Okay. And this makes sense because I imagine like the Tigris and Euphrates would overflow and there would be this great fresh water that would spill onto the land and then they would have tons of fruits and vegetables that would grow quite seamlessly. In a similar way to like the Nile, people spoke of what happened to like the Nile Valley region where it was just very fruitful, right?
Right, very fruitful.
Okay, so you have lots of food. When humans have lots of food and an ability potentially to protect themselves, society can grow. So this is the idea.
Right.
Okay, so Sumeria, this is a culture
Flooding
that
leads
is
to
influenced by the
agriculture.
Atlantic.
I was just, and I was thinking, I was like, where's a good,
Just a little.
you know, when the water overflows as a flood, floods aren't generally conducive to growth.
They are not.
Yeah.
They are not. See, everything, as far as I know, kind of really needs things to be just right.
right. But I mean, you know, or this. I mean, it says it in the Bible, so it must be true.
When he said it makes total sense, I was like, okay, I must have missed something. Surely I missed a part of this conversation.
No, that's just part of the echo chamber, like stroking, like yeah.
Echo chamber stroking. I love it.
Oh, that sounds like a movie.
Atlanteans, or this is just humans?
Heavily influenced by Atlanteans.
Okay, so the Atlanteans are ruling it? Or?
They built a base there.
Atlanteans?
Built a base there. We went straight from flooding to Atlantean bases. This is awesome.
What exactly is this belief system here? Like there seems to be a lot of things coming. How did we go from the Garden of Eden to Atlantis? Like, whoa.
Yeah, it's just such a mix of lore. Like I just don't even know where that came in. I've never even seen somebody try to tie Atlantis to the biblical narrative. I mean, I don't even like, where is he? I don't even know, y'all.
I feel like the Charmed sisters are going to pop up in this story next. It's going to be Phoebe, Paige, and Prue Halliwell. It's going to be interesting.
With an Atlantean. Also for $2, Dr. Tapioca Weasel says, what about the other two rivers in Eden?
Ooh.
I mean, they didn't overflow. I don't.
They didn't. Yeah. They didn't flood the land.
Also, and I missed something from Sinister Porpoise, apparently, and I apologize for that. But for $2, she says, does Billy Carson think 1 × 1 = 2?
I think so.
I don't recall him saying that outright in this video, but I could see him co-signing. It gets worse. Wait for
Listen,
it.
I just want to say this for the record, because it's going to be the only kind thing I can say about this type of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard Terrence Howard say 1 × 1 cannot equal 1 because it violates the law of multiplication, it has a certain logic to it.
Joe, your band. Okay, $5 from Von Rick. Dr. Tapioca Weasel, you were talking about denial and the Amazons.
Oh, okay. Hilarious.
And I need to second this.
There, yep, Paige, Prue, and Piper. How could I leave out Piper?
Oh, yeah.
And Enlil is the one who built the base, Yahweh from the biblical text. He built the base there. And he said, I'm going to create a design for cities that will last for all time on this planet.
And is this the first city that is erected?
One of the most advanced cities. It's got street grids. It has a town center. You know, it has plumbing. All of that exists at this time.
All right,
this is
and
how long
where's
ago?
now? Where's
This
this
is
city at?
Whoa.
They're talking about the Tower of Babel, whatever city that was in.
And how do we know of this city?
This
It's just funny because the
Billy
thing is
Carson just said it.
because you go to I want to see what he says, but it's usually you go to some point in the past.
You would know about it from him saying it just now.
Yeah, and then we know about it from its remains, and it has remains because it's no longer here, and it's no longer here because
But the ancient texts talk
it's
about
not
them.
the city that lasted
And
forever. That's all I'm trying to say. Is if it's an ancient city and it's not around anymore, it didn't last forever. They lied. They lied. It was like selling timeshares. Bro, they told you it was going to be something that it wasn't because it has remains now because it's gone.
Wow. It's the amount of details that people like this give that always kicks my bullshit meter off. Because, like, you're overplaying your hand, bruh. Like, oh, no, they got city grids, town centers, everything.
A light rail.
All right. So, yeah, you are apparently stepping on Mark Agamotto's kink here. Don't do that. Shame on you. For $5, Bonner says, Dr. Tapioca Weasel. Oh, wait. No, we already did that one. Doorknob Head for $2 is saying, is it possible to get Dr. T to eat magnets? Probably not for $2.
Don't think that's a good idea.
I hear they're not good for your health. But
at least don't eat more than one because they will connect in your body. This was actually an issue with the magnet balls that they were selling to kids at one point.
Oh my God. What the fuck? They didn't come with a warning label like fucking Legos do.
They do now.
There.
Oh my goodness.
There.
About roughly 8,000 years ago, according to mainstream. But if you go to the real understanding.
Wait, mainstream what? Wait, do we have a historian in the house? Like, there was a thriving alien metropolis 8,000 years ago, according to mainstream.
According to mainstream scientists, what? Oh
yeah.
What quote unquote they don't want you to know.
Scientist?
Look, don't bring real scientists into this. We don't have no affiliation with what he's talking about. Who knows what he mean by mainstream? He might be mainstream 4chan.
Oh man.
Mainstream.
There's no possible way he doesn't know about 4chan. I'm willing to bet he has an account.
He's an 8chan, bro.
Saying that these tablets are copied tablets from even more ancient tablets. We could be talking 40, 50, 100, 200,000 years ago.
Whoa.
Even deeper than that. And some...
Wait, a thriving metropolis, 200,000. Wait, did I miss something?
Tablets. Well, definitely, because his assertion is that we have these tablets that are copies of tablets that are copies of tablets that the original tablets would have come back from 200, 400,000 years ago. This is intriguing.
And I don't know why he thinks that's in line with some kind of biblical time frame. Again, this is deep time. This is crazy.
Yeah,
He's trying to place it more in line with the evolutionary time frame for like the emergence of Homo, which is crazy.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I was trying to figure out. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I think that's the
200,000 years ago. But okay, yeah, okay. And I heard that there were people who do that, who try to make like Adam and Eve were like the first home.
Yeah, it's like William Lane Craig. It's like some weird stuff.
So okay. So I can't say it actually makes
God
sense,
has to
but at least
inject
like
some souls in there at some point. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Stephanie says, I'm a historian by training, BA only, but still, and Mediterranean studies at Brandeis. Okay, Stephanie, so you can tell us about the alien metropolis and 200,000 years ago,
and how the Atlanteans built the Tower of Babel.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's so much crossover
here. They
definitely
teach that at Brandeis.
Yeah.
So we got Atlanteans, aliens.
Yep. All right.
Some geologists have gone to look at the weather patterns of the destruction of some of these areas and realize that we're talking maybe even almost 2 ice ages ago. So this is really old stuff. And so these people were extremely intelligent, but they were influenced by these Anunnaki Atlantean people who gave them the knowledge and taught them how to build and taught them how to do all of this. And at the Tower of Babel, Yahweh, who is known as Enlil, he helps them to erect this.
Wait a minute, is that the truth?
Enlil? I don't know who
Enlil, he's
Enlil
saying
is.
that. Oh God. Okay.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
two separate people.
What he's
Enlil,
doing is syncretism. And that's the whole story. His whole story is I'm going to pull from this mythology, this mythology, this mythology, this mythology, and pull it all together. It seems like this is a guy who studied the origins of Christianity and said, hey, let me try that. Let me pull all of these other mythologies together and say, hey, now this is the truth. This is why you didn't understand. Anunnaki Atlanteans? What the fuck? This is mind-blowing.
And I think to some extent, these guys like to have him kind of come on, and in a sense, they can sit back and snicker a little bit. And,
yeah, I almost want to say it's racist. I almost want to say it's racist.
but their ideas are going to be pretty out there too, especially because they believe the literal version of this, where at least he's trying to synchronize it with more ancient traditions, which is also silly.
Enlil was a Mesopotamian god of atmosphere and a member of the triad of gods completed by Anu. And Enki. Enlil meant Lord. Wind. Both the hurricane and the gentle winds of spring were thought as the breath issuing from his mouth, and eventually as his word or command. So
you know what though? That's a really good
point. So if
point.
you're thinking beginning of Genesis 1, that's where they're trying to.
It's just interesting to think of that tradition too, because we were talking earlier about the word of God, and it's like the idea that like word and utterance and breath and all that is tied to air and wind, that's something to just keep a hold of, because again, it's that things we have the most basic explanations for that would sound silly for most believers of any of those traditions to tell you now, I believe that's the breath of God moving when I feel the wind or whatever. But that is the type of thinking that is heavily infused in their religion. They just don't realize it because it's so out of touch with our modern sensibilities.
For $5, Dr. Tapioca Weasel said, Jay, stop lying. Science is fake. If you think evolution is cool, why don't you make a series of videos on your channel breaking it down? And I'm going to take this as an invitation that Dr. Tapioca Weasel is also willing to help you do that, since he is also a doctor. Totally real doctor and not a fake ass weasel in a trench coat.
Exactly. But I want us to keep the hustle going. That's why we got to keep you're not supposed to say that in public.
No, I know. It's like you want the Illuminati shield checks to stop flowing.
I know, exactly.
He's built his own tower first, called the Debunking, which means bond heaven earth. And then the humans, when he leaves to go somewhere, the humans build a similar structure. When he comes back, I guess it's probably months or years later, he sees that this thing is being built by humans, mimicking what their advanced culture had built. And he says, oh man, whatever their hearts desire, they will achieve it, which that made it into the Bible. And so he destroys the tower, just like it says in the Bible. And then he says, my seed shall not abide in man forever. His years shall be 120. That also made it into the biblical text.
Okay.
I mean,
okay, just me. This is why people hate getting into arguments with me, because I'm kind of nitpicky with the words that people use, as you can kind of tell. And he says, I guess a few months or a few years later. How is your recollection of this time frame so shoddy? Could have been a few months or a few years. That is a large difference. Yeah. But yet you can be spot on about these other things. That makes, for me, I don't know, maybe it makes sense to other people, but for me that makes absolutely no sense. Like again, people like this, like to me that's just like overplaying your hand. If I was trying to run this con, I definitely would have been like, it was exactly 3 months and 65 days and to a point. You know, because that's how specific you're being with these other things. This moment right here, that's just insane to me.
Also, you see this Russian doll theology. I just named that.
I like it.
Because what Christians so often do to us is they claim everything we see around us as really being part of their biblical narrative. And what he's doing is saying, no, I have the superseding Russian doll. And it's the real big story. And you see it spill over into the Bible. Oh, this made it into the Bible. That made it into the Bible. Actually, I've got this even bigger, grander story. And the Bible just captures, you know, little parts of it that they couldn't hide or they couldn't deny, you know, that they couldn't bury so easily.
Yep.
And so it's this reclamation of you know, the Judeo and Christian traditions both actually coming out of a superseding tradition.
Yeah, for sure.
$5 from Richard Dice. That was painful as hell listening to. How does this make sense at all?
It doesn't, Richard.
It doesn't.
We're not.
We got to give him a chance.
I don't bring him on because he makes sense.
He gonna make it make sense.
When would that be?
He's building up, you know.
Hoy.
All right, I'm sorry.
So you see where it's getting copied from. Older ancient texts. The Bible was written from 100 AD to 900 AD. This text is thousands of years prior.
Wait.
Okay.
180 to 900 AD. The Bible?
Well, see, what he just did was he took advantage of Western ignorance, because when Western ignorance sees the Bible as one complete book, as opposed to seeing it as several different books that were compiled at different times through different iterations. And so because he knows that the majority of people who are clinging to this type of information are completely unaware of that and are so used to the nomenclature of using the word the Bible to describe this, he's not realizing that you're talking about something that underwent in its largest context, underwent two completely different canonization processes. And of course, we know those in the most generic sense as the Old Testament and the New Testament. But he just completely compiled those into one like a moon pie and just said, yeah, they were all done at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I want to say, they said the earliest biblical texts were, and I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people trying to tell me I'm wrong. I want to say like the earliest would have been around 700 BC.
Yeah, it's a very difficult thing to pinpoint because they're based off of oral tradition first.
Right. Yeah.
And we don't know who started writing them down. We don't know who started writing them down first.
Right.
The earliest
they were anonymous.
thing we have is really the 70 scribes who got together and started kind of officializing them as far as the Old Testament. But prior to that, it's really difficult.
So I do want to give Doorknob his due, $2. He says Russian doll theory, J2024. Nice.
Yeah. Nitty said maybe 11 to 1500 or something.
Yeah, and then I wanted to get to this because 1500 is being insanely generous. I believe the Jews are saying that 1500 BCE. But historians are saying that Jews weren't a cohesive group around that time. Yeah. So, which is interesting. A
lot of interest there.
Yeah. I want to say, oh gosh, you know, part of me wants to find it online because I know I did before. But I want to say it was like in that 6th or 7th century when they were in exile. And they started trying to compile a story to keep themselves together and, you know, to separate themselves from the group. It certainly wasn't the Christian narrative, but I don't want to start I don't want to be wrong, so I'll shut up. Shane Billowitz is saying 900 AD. I've also heard that one too.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I don't know that we can confirm at all.
You got one from
We
Fern, I
confirm or
think, before
deny,
that.
but like, do I? Okay, real quick. For $10, Von Rick says, "Can someone tell me where the omnipresent God, keep vanishing to? Why he does not know what is going on in all places he is? He is everywhere, thus knows what's going on everywhere."
Valid.
Yeah, we never just acknowledge how when the Christians say God is everywhere, they really mean nowhere.
Right.
Pretty much.
But he's also outside of space and time, which
also means nowhere.
And remember, many Christians define hell as the absence of the presence of God. And so it's just like, oh, okay, well, there's somewhere he's not.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that makes this hell.
Bam.
All right. So apparently there's all right. I need to real quick. Hi everybody. All right. This is a pro-trans community. We are very, very trans friendly. My mods have the ability, or I'm sorry, I've given them permission to ban all bigoted speech. So if there's anything you're saying that is not person affirming, be it, trans, Black, woman, like the whole nine, even if it's anti cishet white male.
Yeah.
This is, we're a loving and affirming community. And I'm not going to tolerate any kind of bigoted bullshit. If you don't understand something, you're free to ask. Everybody here will tell you that if I believe somebody's here in good faith, they don't understand, they're free to ask a question, even if it bothers literally everyone else. But what you won't do is come up in my community and bash somebody for being who they are as a person.
Yeah.
Mods, you have my permission to ban anyone who says anything like that. But receipts, need receipts. Thank you. Sorry.
I love it.
I've been getting a lot of messages, and I'm not tolerating it tonight. I'm feeling very pro.
Hey, I'm here for it.
Feeling very Black. I'm feeling very womanly.
Yes.
And I want everybody to feel very pro and empowered too. I actually told Caden Slinker likes to apologize for pissing people off, and I'm like, Caden, you're always very polite. You're always very Mormon. And that's fine. It's who he is. And he's not a bitch about it, though.
That's right.
He's very, hey, guys, I'm a Mormon. I'm proud of it. And, he says some stuff. He gets some kickback. And I'm all about that, too. People are are very welcome to challenge ideas. But, I told Caden, I'm like, stop apologizing for being who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I want everybody to feel, that they can be who they are here. But if who you are is a bigoted asshole, get the fuck out of here. I don't need that shit. $2 from Fern. Which Loki's home realty does the city exist in?
Wow.
Where was the Tower of Babel? Like, where? Did the Bible even say where that was?
Oh, that's a tricky one too.
Let's just say it's not Babylon. They're not the Babylon. People get that mixed up a lot. I don't know where it actually is supposed to be.
It's not a. It's more of a moniker than it is a place name. It's an idea, and it's something that we really do in mythology all the time. It's an idea. And then anything we find that looks like it can fit, we'll assign to that, which we've done several times. We found several buildings in our history where we've said, oh, this must be the Tower of Babel, which is a great way of showing that we don't know where the fuck this place is.
True. Exactly.
Yeah, and which is a
Supposedly
great.
Iraq. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I mean, it's really supposed to be what do you call it? A moral or fable, or I mean, and I hesitate to use the word fable. It's probably a bad word, but I mean, it's probably, I don't know. That's the way my brain's working today. I'm sorry. I was manager on duty earlier today. So I've been like up and moving since 8 a.m. So I do apologize for, bad brain. Plus, little tipsy, because who needs this drunk, sober, right?
Hey.
So, yeah, I mean, it's supposed to have a moral. It's supposed to be a just so. This is why things are, like Dr. Josh says, the Adam and Eve story, the creation story isn't supposed to be, okay, yeah, there's a literal talking snake in a garden, and, God kicked the people out for disobeying him, even though they didn't, even though by the God's own admission, they didn't know good from evil.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it's kind of like Jesus cursing a tree for not bearing fruit in its season. It's like, it's not history.
Nope.
It's, just take the moral from the story. It's okay.
I think fable was the best way to put it. I mean, it's because we all create fables. We have fables about America. We got Honest Abe, and we got George Washington chopping down a cherry tree and all this good stuff. We are a fabulist people. We do that.
we love us some stories.
Yes.
Always have since the beginning of time. And again, it doesn't, if the Bible's your ish, doesn't mean it's bullshit. It just means that, it's not history. The Bible.
It's only bullshit when you try to make it true.
Right. And the Bible itself says, like, we're good for morals and spiritual edification. I forget the chapter and verse where it's like saying what it's good for, but I'm like, wow. What's conspicuously absent is history, science, healthcare. For $5, Mark Reed says, "Are you aware of the goddess of taking no crap from bigots that ancient Sumerians called her Maya?"
I am now writing that into
yeah,
one of my
the
novels,
Mayan.
Maya. You just been giving a character in one of my novels.
I was there in the beginning.
Oh,
I love you, Mark. Mark's going to be on in 2 months. Can't wait.
Awesome. Awesome. Looking forward to it.
And so he then decides to confuse the languages and move people around to different regions of the planet so that we couldn't collaborate.
Because if we can't collaborate, we can do all the things that they can do.
Exactly.
And we can challenge their power.
Exactly. This is where the genetic modification came in, that 120 statement.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Your God is just so sad and pathetic. I have to stop humans from cooperating, because if they can collaborate, they can do everything I can do and I'll be useless. Negro, you already useless if that's the case.
In his defense, his gods are apparently aliens who came to teach this technology and then said, oh, wait, don't use it. Like, I am, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Nitty asked me to go back 15 seconds, so we're going to let this play through for a second.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
Texas, thousands of years prior. And so he then decides to confuse the languages and move people around to different regions of the planet so that we couldn't collaborate.
Because if we can't.
So he just like the claw. It's just like, I'm going to take you and just.
And is that how you think it works? Like, we were all just in one place, then we were insta-scattered.
Yeah.
So that we couldn't collaborate, and that worked. We didn't collaborate. I mean, we definitely didn't create this global society we have now through traveling across the globe and collaborating. I mean, like, none of this stuff makes sense. And also, I just have to say, and this is the thing that needs to be stated to Christians time and time again, this is not true. And this is not good. I am not impressed with the character of your God who was like, yeah, humans were trying to get their game together. They were all going to come together, come up with a common language, speak one tongue, solve common problems, and take care. And I wasn't having any of that shit. I scattered them to the four winds, make sure the motherfuckers hated each other, make sure they spoke different languages, make sure next time they saw each other, they treat each other like strangers and kill and enslave one another. That was my plan because I'm God and I'm awesome. Like, your vision sucks.
This is horrible.
Tell me, they just don't realize when they're telling us their God's a monster, an anti-human monster.
Yep.
Can't collaborate. We can do all the things that they can do.
Exactly.
And we can challenge their power.
Exactly. This is where the genetic modification came in. That 120 statement is powerful because at Harvard University, they just discovered that the lifespan of a human being maxes out at about 120 years.
Yeah.
Right? And that's under the most pristine conditions, no poison.
That's
blah, blah,
organ
blah.
failure and all these other things. Not counting cancer, these outside sources.
Exactly.
But how long can your organs really live for? Yeah.
So that's where the genetic, now the scientists said, look, chromosome number 2, something happened to humans. It was taken out and fused together.
Jay, you're a scientist.
Yeah, and honestly, I would just hit him upside the head with a steel chair. Just nothing you have said up to this point has been leading up to chromosome. And so the only proper response for that insult to science is just hitting him upside the head with a steel chair. Don't you ever let me hear you say chromosome about your mouth again.
Don't say speak of spaghetti.
So for $2, the Sinister Purpose says Netflix Castlevania had his Tower of Babel interpretation. So nice. I don't have a Netflix subscription, so I can't keep up with Billy Carson apparently. But you know, it's so funny that everybody is telling me, it's like, hey, if you look over here, you can find his interpretation of this. Hey, if you look over there, you can find his interpretation of that. It's really how I felt like when I was in the New Age community, where it's just like, yeah, we're going to take some of this science and mix it with some of this Mormonism. And, you know, then we're going to get some Hinduism and mix it all up in a bunch. We're going to believe all of it. And that's kind of like this Billy Carson, only like with movies and shit.
I don't know why creationists don't understand genetics. I also don't understand why they try to make any of this stuff scientific. It's the worst. It's just because it just holds you to it puts your feet in quicksand it doesn't need to be in. Like, you don't need the stickiness of reality. Just go with the fables. And matter of fact, I think this is like worlds colliding, because I do think there was a place in communities for the storytellers. I think that's in many ways what pastors were. Like, we are story people, and in the moments as we're going through things, we need somebody to make sense of it all, give it a theme, maybe even give us a common cause. But when you try to make that the truth and it's not, that's the problem. Because it is true that in a way, at least the scientific way, the most powerful stories now are true ones in a certain way, like the stories that cure cancer, the stories that explain the way the universe works and things like that. And so we have to find a place, and I think religion is struggling, right? Like, I think fiction has found that place. They're like, look, we tell you stories. You come to the movies, you suspend your disbelief, we give you characters, we take you backwards and forward in time, and we give you some themes or whatever, and you can go home and make a lesson out of it. Science says, I'm not giving you, I'm just telling you facts. This is what it is. And I think there's still something going on, and I think religion's still trying to find its place, but it seems to be mixing those two, right? It seems to want to give us the fantasy, the characters, the adventure, but then it sort of wants to have claim over the factual reality. And at least for me, that's where the tension comes in.
And Mark Agamotto has $1 per word. The heat problem.
Heat problem. And I want to be clear about something else too, because somebody said, called him a creationist. He's giving you a deep time frame. He's giving you hundreds of thousands of years or civilizations predating the Bible, but he's absolutely a creationist. This story of Tower of Babel, and I want to tie a couple things here too. He's giving us the creation of language, but he's also given us the creation of races. And we have explanations for the origin of language and the origins of human variation between different populations.
Oh, we're getting
both of those are evolutionary theories.
Yeah.
And I just want to be clear that when we talk about creationism, we tend to go to young earth creationism and we tend to think about the origin of species. Creationism is a far bigger problem because when you get into it, there's all these creation narratives that come along with it, and all of them are anti-science.
Thank you for that.
Well, you know, science is a work of the devil to keep us from believing in God.
That's, yeah, you got to believe that. Or or a work of God to make us, a trick of God to make us believe in the devil, right? Because I've been told that, seriously, I've been told that fossils were placed there by God to test our faith.
Oh,
so
well, that sounds like God.
Yeah, and that's literally telling me like,
alley.
God's tricking me. He's going to give me some evidence that contradicts his word, as though he wants to test me to see if I'm gonna really leave. Like he's the partner that was abusive to you, and he's like, oh, I it's not that I don't love you. I just wanted to see if you cheat. Well, of course, what you think was gonna happen when you spat me upside my head every time I come in the house?
Yes.
Dr. Kip, where have you been? We've had so many questions for you. And you know what?
Dr. Kip, tell us about the Atlanteans in Eden.
Oh, yeah. You missed it. We were trying to figure out what time period in the Bible did the Atlanteans mix with the people and give them ancient technology. We've been going back and forth on that. If you could shed some light, I'm sure that it popped up once or twice in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
I don't often feel like I'm in position to talk trash to Dr. Kill. But what does your biblical scholarship tell you about the Atlanteans, huh? Dr. Kip? We need answers. We need answers.
Oh,
Jay scared off the doctor. Well, if that doesn't scare him, this will.
Right? Instead of having 48, we got 46. Why is that? Fused together, 2 telomere caps put on the end, limiting our lifespan.
Oh, so we didn't even have telomeres until the aliens put them on there to limit our lifespan.
Holy. Okay.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
And they took away 2 whole chromosomes.
The thing is though, like what people like this take advantage of is that nobody that he's speaking to is gonna say demonstrate it. Like fuck even prove it. Just demonstrate it. I'd like to see this in action here. Like, even if it's a great magic show. I'd like to see this.
And I will say I don't believe in any of this stuff. And and the main reason is like we're not that interesting. Like what? Aliens just came down here and like sparked off civilizations and like put these constraints, and then they're just chilling somewhere, like watching popcorn, like eating popcorn, like watching us work and argue about God on the internet. Like that's why even like simulation stuff, like whose simulation is this and what is the point? And what are they just gonna run a simulation for eons and eons and billions of years to watch all of the nothing that is happening so they're really that into dark black hole simulator? Like they just black hole simulator is just the best idea that it could ever be. And no, don't get me started.
It seems to be a lot of absent fathers theories, right? Like a father starts something and then goes the fuck off and like, I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah, I'm done.
Simulation, creation.
That's what it is. It was he started the simulation, but then they just got this and they forgot to turn it off. So that's what they're not watching it. They just dip.
Netflix and chill,
They went,
right?
God went out for cigarettes.
God is getting some action while the show is still playing in the background. Oh, snap.
Oh my God. All right. Where were we?
So we know that there was a genetic mutation around the same time, they're saying 200,000 years ago, the same time the tablets are roughly estimated to be written originally about this Tower of Babel incident. So it's like...
So wait, Dr. Kip, really go? Because I need answers. Dr. Kip, was the Tower of Babel 200,000 years ago? Right around the time that we were writing tablets?
Boy.
What the fuck?
And are these the Akashic tablets that he's referencing here? That's what the fringe groups typically.
I bet they don't teach you this at the main, because he went to one of the mainstream schools. You see what I'm saying? And at the mainstream schools, they don't have a real curriculum. You know,
Well,
they're still doing that 1 × 1 = 1 math. You know,
well, according to him, he went to Harvard and MIT.
Yeah.
But when you dig deeper, he took a course. It does not say he even completed the course. He took a course, not a program, not a class, a certificate course. Let's be clear.
Online. Yeah, he did a correspondence course.
Pretty much. I don't even think it was that. I think it was something like EDX or Coursera or something like that.
like a massively mobile online course or something. Yeah.
Yep.
Ancient text and modern science is almost collaborating with each other. And you're saying, man, what? Wait a minute. So the geneticist said it's an artificial mutation.
Is that what geneticists say? Is there a geneticist in the house?
No.
Do we have an artificial mutation in our genome?
I don't.
What would that even mean?
I was just gonna say I don't even know what an artificial mutation is.
Like that.
It's when the aliens started fucking with the genome.
In order for it to be a mutation, it would have to be natural. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I can imagine, but all of it is giving him way more credit than he deserves. Like, yeah, no, it's just I don't know what he's talking about. I think that's what he's. See, I think he's getting at like engineering. Yeah, that's what I think he means.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
That's exactly what he's saying.
Which means he's mixing this with some Nation of Islam theology here.
It sounds like some Realian stuff to me.
Mm-hmm.
Some Realian, you know, the aliens came down and, you know, left us behind, and this is all part of their experiment. It's basically we were created, but we were created naturally. Mm-hmm. Right? It's a natural creation myth. It's a creation myth that we were created by a superior intelligence and all this type of stuff.
And that we've just misunderstood that super intelligence as God, and it's actually not God, it's aliens.
Yeah, but I'm also not sure that his isn't mixed with some type of religious ideas too.
It does seem to be, yeah.
Yeah. His seems to have the supernatural spin on it.
For sure. Well, because he definitely keeps mentioning the Anunnaki and they
and the scatter and magical things keep happening. Yeah, right. So because if you take some of those more naturalistic ideas strictly, they're more restricted to what we would support by natural mechanisms, right? They don't imply that anything magical ever happened. He's got a lot of God makes a decision and then history changes.
And just notice, and this is what I was going to say earlier, like, even if he was writing a fiction novel, this story absolutely sucks. This would not be a bestseller by any standards because he's not actually said a complete sentence yet. He just literally keeps jumping from idea to idea to idea.
Yeah, this is, okay, so I didn't want to get as part of the lecture earlier, but this kind of was getting at about the most powerful stories being true. There was a time when if we didn't know a question like where do humans come from, why do we speak different languages, you know, why do different people groups look different and speak different languages, those were all, I'm just going to charitably say, great mysteries.
Yes,
we now have very good answers for them. And I think part of what disappoints people is, to some extent, they're mundane answers. They're not like it's not to say nothing cool is happening. It's just to say it's very much ordinary processes.
Yeah.
And while I recognize that that's dissatisfying for people, we do have those explanations now. And so the idea of filling that knowledge gap with stories doesn't feel that satisfying anymore because we kind of know the story.
Yep.
You know, it's like we can make up a story about the Civil War, but people kind of in their minds know, and we have history books to tell us what the actual Civil War was like. So it might be cool if we imagine that it was fought with flying carpets, but ultimately that's not going to be as compelling as it would have been as a prediction, right? If somebody in ancient times would have predicted there'll be a future civilization and they'll have a civil war, and it'll be like, oh my goodness, that sounds fantastic. But when you're talking about history, or you're talking about what we've already explained, it just doesn't hit the same.
So can I let me ask this in the spirit of Juneteenth. Do you think that so many of our people flock to stuff like this because we've been so oversold on the extravagance of the supernatural and the possibilities through religion that we are dissatisfied with natural explanations to things?
I definitely feel like that's part of the psychology, right? I don't know how yeah, and I think a lot of times even things that are mundane, you know, like I used to joke, my grandparents used to say praise the Lord instead of hello when they answered the phone.
Yep.
Really?
And so they were like the type to like pray for traveling mercies and then
Yes.
pray again when they got home that the God had spared them. But see, you know, to most people that's crazy, but that's how they see it. Like it was because that made so much more sense than you were careful on the way to the grocery store. But yeah, I think that's part of it. Once you're part of this grand narrative, this grand story,
Yes.
being told that actually, you know, that's not the case is quite a letdown.
Yeah, I guess having to find out that, hey, you're not that important. You're just a speck on a rock that's floating in the middle of nowhere. It's not as fun, huh?
Yeah. Also, I think. Oh, go ahead,
Yeah,
Maya.
real quick though. I think one, Dr. Tapioca Weasel gifted BS Lewis a membership. BS, welcome back to the
Awesome.
fam. Also, and yeah, in line with that, I think that a lot of people feel like they're being devalued, and
Yes.
this, you know, like I am royalty. It's kind of feeding that inner desire to
Yes.
like be more than you know, then you feel like you're treated, or like to live your actual potential. I think that
that's good.
For people who are impoverished or are denying a part of themselves for any reason, it's easier to get involved in this fantasy land, right? But when all your needs are met, I think it's a lot easier to separate that. Like where I don't, when you're feeling like the master of your domain or your destination, like I know how to, I know what I want and I know how to get there. It's just a matter of the journey. When you're there, I think the fantasy and the fanfics don't tend to take as much of a priority in your mind.
Sure.
Since
Yeah.
It's like the Aladdin principle, right? We all know the story of Aladdin. Aladdin is the one who needs the genie, not the princess, not the
right.
you know what I'm saying? Aladdin needs the genie because he's the one in poverty. He's the one that has to eat to live. You know, that's to steal to eat. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think part of that too is you know, the scientific way is not really part of our identity, and part of that is our identity being bought into the religiosity, but it's also part of us feeling like the naturalistic explanation of scientific culture really was not for us. Like we don't
you just said a mouthful.
See scientists like us. We don't read scientific literature. We don't even have a lot of people who think or even promote science around us. We lucky,
Bruh.
we really lucky if we meet some engineers in our life. Let's be honest, you know.
Yes, sir.
So I've always said this. That's, you know, I feel lucky not to be an academic, but to be an academic that's a particular type of academic where you're led by your interest. There's so many of us, when our ambitious students, they become doctors, they become lawyers, they become business people. And there's nothing at all wrong with doing those things, but I don't know how much that's their dream.
Yeah.
As much as there's only like a limited set of dreams even sold us that we can pick from, right? And so we tend to always pick the same ones. And that's not, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just part of the urgency of encouraging especially students of color to you know have broader opportunities, because the interest is there when the exposure is there.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Also, for $2, Richmond Dye says, "Okay, nanobots, you didn't know that." And then I like Kentucky Atheist says here, this guy has yet to say two things that happened in the same century.
So true.
He's not wrong.
We said, well, who did it? They said, we don't know how it's done. They said through natural evolution, it would have taken millions and millions of years to happen.
But what is it?
Who is they?
I mean, he's just talking about, oh, there's a mutation. Like he's not elaborating. It's just like, yeah, you know, that mutation that we all know about. And they're just nodding like, They don't know how it happened. It would have taken years.
That artificial mutation we all know about. Yeah.
I teach my kids when people start speaking in extra pronouns, like it's just they, it, this, that, like, you know, they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Expedited. Now,
how did did it?
How do we guess? They did. How do we get the races now? Me and you aren't dark because our cousins were working in the sun. Don't believe that. It's foolishness. Okay.
Who says that?
Nobody says that. Nobody says that. This is like saying that people are dark skinned because they lay in tanning beds. Like this is
hilarious.
What is wrong with him?
You're not light skinned because your uncles and aunts were working on top of a mountain in Russia.
Yeah.
No. What they discovered was
he's trying
between
to do
races.
That's what he was trying to do geography, but his like Stephanie said, him using the oppressor's language got the best of him. He was trying to make out working in the sun equal
like black
to
people being
working
in
the equator regions, and then you're working up in the mountains to be your up
in Russia.
Yeah,
and
so
that's what makes
he's trying to do
people
the latitude theory, but
not understanding the vitamin D situation that plays into this.
Yeah.
And nobody, I mean, you know what? I'm not even. We
Curse of Ham for 200. Alex.
Well, you know, I think
that's so good.
Right.
I think what these guys do is that they make things that are highly nuanced. They make them sound very simple in the eyes of in the ears of their listeners, and so it's just like we know that coloration and speciation even is very nuanced and has a lot of factors and a lot of variables that play into that. They like to pick one thing that they think will make sense to their audience and throw that out there. And you know, and that's really sad because it's almost like, you know, playing a game and getting the cheat codes and you think you've learned something. But
when I was a kid, there were people in my family that I thought were white. And I even asked my mother, like, you know, why she was a different color than me, because my mother's light skinned. A lot of people in my family are light skinned.
Yeah.
And so I didn't even understand that as a kid. Like,
yeah, no, my son thinks my mom is white. And I'm like, so you think I'm mixed? He's like, no. He's like, no. And I'm like, how the fuck does that work?
Well, I knew a white lady who I thought she was black for like 3 years. And then finally she was like, oh no, I'm white. I was like, well, damn, I don't know as much about race as I thought.
Right.
And actually, I wish that would run through Billy Carson's mind, but he doesn't have it in him.
There's a 2% variance in DNA and genes.
Yeah.
2% would take multi-millions of years through natural evolution. Didn't take that long, only took 200,000 years. So what's going on here?
Oh,
What? What?
Oh
my goodness.
See, it's like, oh my God. It's just like, I want to like talk about facts. And it's just like, I get tired.
It's too much. It's too
right.
much. This is like
where do I even start? Like, it's so wrong. Like, it's just like all of it. Like, are those even words? Like, why are they in this order?
He said it only took 200,000 years. Like, whoa.
And I'm like,
we know the cart before the horse.
We know that 40,000 years ago, Europeans were black.
This is when the Homo sapiens species came on the scene. That's not how long it took us to become Homo sapiens.
Right.
What?
I
don't like
none of this. Yeah, it doesn't add up. He's special.
He's special. Oh, that sounds like a gospel song. No, it's Lizzo. Lizzo, you're special.
Oh my God.
I've been drinking.
Titan says he used to think I was white. That's awesome.
Oh.
Fucking around.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
we're branded.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of interesting because if humans didn't leave the African continent until how many 100,000 of years ago?
Yeah.
You're saying that we left prior to the amount of time necessary in order for us to naturally evolve to have these different colors.
Correct.
Dick sizes or whatever. So yeah, why did your guys' God love big dicks so much?
That is a great question.
That's a great question.
And, because, if you're a black guy, you got the big dick.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment.
That's how that works.
I just want to say, if when this topic comes up, you need to question who you're in the room with. You need to really take a good look around the room and ask yourself why you're in this room. But I just want to say it's a valid question about the slave master's particular obsessions. It's a lot of questions.
You are right about that because I think an overlooked fact in history is that everywhere dark people were, whether they were identified as African or otherwise, whether they were in South America, Australia, or the Philippines, everywhere dark people were found, when they were hanged, their genitals were cut off.
Yeah.
I find this very fascinating that Europeans love to cut off people's genitals who are darker than them.
Yeah. Just
who was talking about somebody was talking about this. It used to be was it Greek culture, Roman culture, where like having a big cock was considered uncouth.
That was Greek culture. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They were offended by big dicks. Big dicks was offensive.
Yeah.
You're gonna wreck somebody. I'm sorry.
Walking around having a big dick, like, what kind of savage are you?
Gonna have our women and men for Greece not walking right around here.
Welcome to Bad Science Sunday, everybody.
Oh, I love it.
Just quickly, this is still part of the culture, though, right? This is still I came up in a time, I was thinking about this the other day, like I talk about being the only black kid in all white schools. So let me explain to y'all a little bit of how that works out. You get a lot of beef, and I grew up a time it wasn't necessarily out and out cool to be racist, but there was a lot of racist shit that was still there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I got the most problem from guys when I was like involved with their sisters, right? Or their little sister. And it was weird because a lot of times they wanted their friends to have more animosity towards me. Like they wanted to jump me. Like they wanted their friends to bully me too and stuff like that, right? But a lot of times their friends couldn't because I had history with them. Either we played basketball together back in the day, or like a lot of times I was really close to their girlfriends and stuff, right? Like so they knew, you know, small school is the social lives get mixed like that, right? But what would happen is if I was involved with like your sister, there was like you didn't want the smoke for your sister being the lover. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that was still very much a part of it. And this thing that like there's something about a Black man that like ruins a woman, like that's very heavy.
Yep.
And it's so, and I just want to, I know it's something that comes up, but I want people to think about it because my mom put it this way. You had to deal with very adult issues as a child.
As a
Yeah.
child.
And it matures you in a way that nobody should be matured. But think about that. Like people are sending this signal, like you're in our school, but you're not okay to date our daughters because you're not really one of us, right? You like defile them, and it's just we have to carry that. We know people see us that way, and yeah.
And you know, Jay, just to kind of piggyback on that, like when I was in high school, I was into musical theater and the arts, and I had roles that I was restricted from if it required me to kiss a person who was white. And so if the other lead role was a white role, they'd move me to a supporting role. And so in this way, it literally robbed me of opportunity. My father went through the same thing. You know, he had scholarships moved from him because of just the fact that there's this Black guy in this same, you know, in this situation with these other people. But that's a very valid point when it comes to relationships. You know, I'm from Alabama. For the most part, born and raised. And so obviously I entertained some relationships with some white girls. And in 99% of those relationships, it was definitely a situation where, oh, my father can't find out. And if he does, you know, you're in trouble. And it's just having to wrestle with that as a human. And the people who are telling you that don't even comprehend that this is not even a scenario that they'd ever have to wrestle with.
There's so much little stuff, and I got a million stories for you, but I'll get an audience one to think about. I had to watch my girlfriends go to dances with other guys.
Wow.
To keep up that level, that layer of security. Yeah.
That just hurt my heart, bro.
Yeah, I just it's real like that.
Damn.
All right. I mean,
let's go.
Yeah, I can't compete with that. But here's my I don't know. Like I too went to. I want to say like in my high school, there's maybe 6 Black people. So if I ever wanted to go to a friend's house, I had to make sure my friend was with me because I knew I was getting stopped. Probably. Sometimes I wondered if it was either way, but at least I had I had to have my friend with me to get that white pass.
Yes.
So that I could make it into the neighborhood and out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. There's so much.
And you had to live in Alabama. I mean, that wasn't easy. I'm not asking for a story, but I'm like, I don't know. That sounds hard to me.
I've been arrested several times since I was 12 years old. And
the first time you were arrested, you were 12?
Actually, that may have been the second. I think the first time I was 7, because I was trying to protect my mom from being arrested, which, to be fair, she probably deserved to be arrested at the time. But yeah, I've had several interactions with the police throughout my entire life. And not to sound like a career criminal, but none of them were my fault. But I've often just stood up for other people and found myself in the line of fire. And so I've seen racism in a way that most people have not. I mean, literally 10 years ago, I lost everything because I was accused of being a felon for calling a white man a jackass. And for 2 years, I had to fight for my dignity to be treated like a college graduate.
Wow.
It's fun being Black in America.
It's rough.
Isn't it fun? Isn't it though?
I don't know.
Yeah, what is that about?
When you go to Egypt, that's all, in the museum, you see a lot of statues with big penises. All
What is up?
You notice how we didn't look into that, huh? Mr. Carson heard that. He's like, yeah, we don't have to check that one out.
We don't check that. No,
But yeah, can you explain that?
No Diddy, no
Because
Diddy.
my guy.
Oh my goodness.
You see statue of David, and he got a little strippy on there.
For real? Okay, so and then Asians, where the fuck do they come from? That's just
All right,
crazy.
hold on. We just gotta nip that in the
they're the
bud. 'Cause we're black. Hold on. We can't let this no Diddy thing. Look, the pause stuff, the no homo stuff, all of that, that's all very homophobic.
Yes.
Very much.
And then now to take the sort of monster on the tip of everybody's tongue and then use that every time you want to do the pause thing. We really just need to leave that in the past.
For sure. For sure.
Most different.
Yeah, they're really different. But here's what
They are.
I say that because my wife is Asian.
Yeah, so tell me, what's the deal?
Here's the thing. So
Anunnaki?
when you look at the Anunnaki and you discover that they were multiracial people, they all look different. The crew that took to Chem with him, they were all different looking people. Even one of the person had married a woman from another planet, according to these texts, not according to me. But when he said, go around the planet and duplicate what we did here.
Yeah.
So now I go, you and I, we're already in Africa, right? You go to Europe, you go over to Mesoamerica, and you are ruling over people. Now, what does a farmer do right now if they have cows? They brand the cow. So in case my cow wanders off, that's Farmer Jim's cow. We got to get it back to him.
So everybody made their people.
So are we the Negroid cows?
I think so. I think we've been branded Negroid. That's the brand. Is the skin color the brand?
I wonder
think
where
that's
he's
what
going. Does he not know slaves were branded? Is that where it's almost like, again, like these guys that they just play in these spaces. They always get around they touch all the hot button issues and they give this permissive structure. But I don't see how he has this discussion in a way that's not insensitive to the fact that part of dehumanization of slaves is the way they were branded.
I don't feel like he's having this discussion with another adult, because I feel like another adult would have called him out on his bullshit by now and been like, hey, this shit doesn't make any sense, bro. Like, yikes.
Yeah. I know that was a big yikes. I like the whole conversation, right?
Yes.
He keeps going.
People look like them,
That's
so
right.
they knew these are our property.
Let us make man in our image.
Whoa.
I believe.
Yeah, we're the Negroid cows.
Yep.
Also,
That's
I
it.
killed her. I love that story. That's when Stephanie says, "I don't need allies. I need accomplices."
Mhm.
I killed her. That's what she talking about.
Wait,
Believe it or
this
not,
one
I
here?
was still
This one here?
yeah. I did that for my friends too when I was in college. There was a bunch of parties I stepped outside and dealt with the cops to
Yep.
keep the situation at bay. But I love when people do that, and it does feel great to have friends and people in your life that are aware of those type of things. So
There's friends who are functional.
yeah, shout out.
Right.
Sure.
My hypothesis is that we are genetically branded people for the people that we were ruled over by.
Whoa. So what color do we all start as?
No one knows. When you talk about these Anunnaki texts, it describes them. There's only one reference in the Sumerian tablets that references the people that took the brunt of a bomb that got dropped in ancient times, and they call them the black-faced people. And it said that
The black face people?
Which is what the word Ethiopian means.
Okay.
This is yikes. There's so much going on here.
Because I want to say, what was it?
But see, that's the
thinking
ounce of
in-
truth. Oh, go ahead, Maya.
No, I was just thinking, I think Sumerian, they refer to themselves like the name, it was like the black haired people. And so I'm like, is he conflating? But okay, Ethiopian, they were the black.
So what I was gonna
people.
say though is if you've ever been around like black folk talk, like stoop talk, barbershop, cookout talk, this is kind of how it goes, right? It's a little bit of myth here, and then and this word means this, and then it's like this jump,
It's the
And
conscious community. For sure.
yeah, there's a lot of this like meaning jambalaya and symbology that just gets thrown in there. And it has a little bit of truth to it. There'll be that little bit of thing to hang on to. That's often the carrot, right? Is that the word does mean that, or there's some translation, or there's a little bit of smoke.
I feel like they're going after the Hebrew Israelites more crowd. Those people who've already kind of bought into these fringe ideas that are surrounded around deifying black people from the previous ages, and it definitely, it just kind of screams of that.
Yeah, like not the 5%ers.
Oh yeah, they're in that mix too, for damn.
I mean, they are, yeah, but like, what was it? Oh, I forget. Titan like sent me a link.
I wish more Christians did this.
What?
Like, try to present their black forward theology, because it would get laughed at. And I think you're right in the sense that there's a lot of this, and it's funny because black people tend to, it's like one of them things, when you're in the bubble, when you're in the culture, you like all this, all men are kings, we're really the divine ones.
Yes.
They'll deny our, but when you think about how this plays out on the world stage, it's a joke. They're never going to see black as divine. They won't even see black as fully human.
Right.
And yeah, go ahead.
Now, I was just saying, and then these people, like, to me, the reason why like people like Billy Carson are so damaging is because they're such a distraction. They're not even creating things. They're not even inspiring us to step up. They're not motivating us to make different moves. It's giving us more excuses to sit on the background. And it bothers me, because I have friends that are invested in this stuff, that believe that this guy is some type of prophet or a messiah, that what he's saying is really secret knowledge that we really need to know. But at the end of the day, there is absolutely no utility in anything he's saying. Nothing he's saying, even if it was true, could anybody in his community use to move their life forward. And that's the stuff that kind of pisses me off. We have too many problems to be talking about fucking Atlantean aliens. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Godly, man. Yeah. Brenda had a baby. You didn't hear Tupac?
No, Titan asked me, and I'm shocked I hadn't even heard. You guys heard about the Yaqub or
Nation of Islam?
Yeah.
They believe Yaqub was this big-headed scientist who was responsible for the way race developed in this world today.
Yeah. I hadn't even heard of that. Now, I'd heard of the Nation of Islam, and I heard about like the jackals and all that stuff. I didn't know, but I hadn't heard of Yaqub, and that blew my fucking mind. And I thought about doing it on here, but I'm like, that's too fucking racist.
It is very racist.
Even for me, but this has got a lot of those vibes.
It does. Because I think I think that's his target market. His target market is the Moors, the Hebrew Israelites, the 5%ers, and people who gravitate to that type of fringe, because ultimately those are people who feel like they've lost their identity and they're looking for anything that kind of gives them a deified existence in this world without requiring them to do anything.
Let's not forget the hoteps. Yeah.
So
gotta get them in there.
Wayne also said, reminder that everybody loves apes and chimps. Most races can't accept that life started in Africa because of the blackness of it all, not the apeness. I love that. Yeah. That's a hot take. That's a hot take.
You can handle coming from apes, but not black folk. God damn.
Right.
Ooh.
I mean, Wayne be going way down to the jungle deep.
Hey,
I love it, Wayne.
The evil wind took them over, and their hair fell out, and their nails fell off, and their eyes were bleeding. It's like radiation sickness.
All right, so we were there were nuclear wars 200,000 years ago too, apparently.
Because he said there was a bomb dropped. Apparently, there was,
because they had advanced technology.
I am a fiction author, and I do have a story where there is a bomb dropped on prehistoric Earth.
At this rate, I'll be surprised if he doesn't bring up the pyramids, Wes. He has a theory about the pyramids.
It's coming for sure.
That's the only reference we actually have of the way anybody really look, other than the hair. They talk about hair in the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Is there a book that doesn't talk about hair?
Man. Wow.
I don't.
This sounds like those people who believe all of history is just the whitewashing. Like really, black people did this, and black people wrote the original Epic of Gilgamesh, and black people wrote the original Bible, and black people did all the original science.
but it's even worse because then it's like black people did it only because of aliens. And so it's like black consciousness mixed with white supremacy. It satisfies both groups.
Right. Black nationalism.
Well, see, that's the other thing that's interesting about this, because you mentioned the Black Hebrew Israelites and all of them, and they can do a little bit. They could support each other. They can line each other pockets a little bit. But what he's doing right here in this podcast, this is way more crossover. So I'm asking myself, what is the growth opportunity with the alt-right? Because that's what this is about, right? This is the alt-right is like, I like these kind of strange, weird ideas about black people. Like let's explore this a little bit more, right? Because this is going beyond that audience when you sit down with the Roganosphere.
But you just said something very clear, because what he's playing into is the magical Negroes archetype.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's playing directly into this. And I can, when you said that, because I would have never thought of it before, because my whole relationship with Billy Carson has been poor black folk, right? But now when you bring up the alt-right, I immediately see the magical Negro appeal.
Yeah.
This is definitely somebody, because the alt-right definitely latches on to these superstitious ideals about God. And I think the one thing we found out about people who latch on to these ideals about God is that when other people on the other side, they don't care about the differences. To them, it just becomes all of us who believe in some form of superstition are on the same side and everybody else sucks. And so you can see them gravitating very much to a Billy Carson type to platform for sure.
Yeah.
They talk about locks, but does that mean locks like you just have long hair, or does it mean dreadlocks? We don't really know. But it's interesting.
Also, white people get dreadlocks too.
Yeah, it's true. So it's interesting. So, so you don't know. We don't really anybody who's making hard factual statements like that, they're just making it up.
Really?
So what about Blake Griffin?
Stop it.
As opposed to what he's doing, right?
Yeah, that's the gaslighting. Yeah.
Holy shit. Did he just like he just said anybody who's making hard fact statements about these things are making it up.
Yeah.
That is the only thing he has said this entire time that I am in 100% agreement with.
But see, this is where you got to talk to your atheist friends, because a lot of us hesitate to really tell these people what we really think of their ideas. But it's the bravado that they bring. They always telling us we making something up. We're in a cult. We're taking something because it's a religion. It's a dogma. They have the truth. Like, now I gotta cut you. You didn't, because you done came in my house and put your boots up on my coffee table, and you flipping through my. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part that gets. Yeah. Yeah, that's the part that gets me, man. That's the part where really it's like you're inviting people into a space where they have very little choice other than to tell you that you're wrong.
Wow.
It's $5 from Richard Dice. Rich mind. Richmond dies. I'm going to get that right one day. Richmond, thank you for all the support. Truly appreciate it. Of course, there is Atlantis, mound builders in America, and of course, Mormonism is driven by racism. Anywhere there is non-white, there's these myths. And he's
For
not
sure.
wrong.
Who branded him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one?
Yeah, what do we do when we start mixing and matching? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Is that was that bad or is that good?
Well, no.
Yeah, what would the gods say about that?
In the Garden of Eden, it was actually Edin, right? And Enlil, he was known as Yahweh. He was the Lord. He was known as Satan, the Lord of Eden.
Oh my goodness! So
I don't even know where to go with that. So again, Enlil was a Mesopotamian god, like he's part of the pantheon. It's not Yahweh, who's just the let's say the God of Israel that ended up being the one they stuck with. Separate gods. And I don't know. For the life of me, I don't know where this EDIN came from.
Oi.
Jade, were you gonna say something?
No, I don't. No. No, my brain is scrambled.
Oh, you're welcome.
I love the freeze of him at that moment, though. That seems like to be his true essence at this
That
moment.
is also my reaction to him.
I know, like the whole time, just like shifting side eye. That should really be a meme, though.
It says I'm confused and definitely not high enough for this all at the same time.
All right, Dr. Tapioca. Dr. Tapioca Weasel gifted himself a cultist, went to Who's Your Buddy. Who's Your Buddy? Welcome to the fam. Please enjoy your tapioca weasels, your nitties, and your stone vaginas.
All right.
This is why Dr. Tap was giving away the hustle, because he's already rich. Yo, I still need my money.
Right? Help me.
And Vonrick, see, this is what I'm talking about. These need to be in color too. Gifted 5 Tapioca Weasel memberships. Got 5 more cultists. Went to Andrew Knight, Michael Granado, friend of the show, Wet the Beck, friend of the show, H.L. Aristoteles, and Farron Salas. Dr. Tapioca Weasel also gifted himself another cultist. Went to Kira J. Everybody, welcome back to the fam, because I think all these people have had memberships before. Please enjoy your tapioca weasels, your vaginas, and your nitties.
Vaginas.
Satan,
the
Lord of Eden. And Eden was an outside laboratory. And in this laboratory, when you read these texts, even some of the apocryphal texts, like the Book of Adam, which was left out of the Bible, you discover that this was a mating ground. So they would start. So what happened first was they began with
where on earth
genetically
is
modified
not
people.
A mating ground? Can someone help me? Is there any place on earth
my
that
house?
is not
Sorry, I had to burn
All right. I stand corrected. That is not a mating ground.
Okay.
Oh man.
Owned.
That were almost like clones. And the information on the cloning technique is at the Temple of Karnak in Africa, in Egypt, where I take people. And also there's more evidence or talk about it at the Temple of Dendera. And there's one more temple that has the birthing center. I think it's the Temple of Isis. And
what the fuck is almost like clones? Almost
like clones? You mean like normal reproduction?
Right. Right.
Cloning with some errors? You mean?
I mean, you know, I got 2 kids that everybody keeps telling me are almost like
it's almost
clones.
like an imperfect copy, you know?
Like Sheeran? Is that what we're saying?
I mean, we're all on the same page that he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, right?
Yeah, and I think
At
too,
all.
like this is the importance of hitting an intellectual reset when you discover science. Because he forgot to hit the reset button. He just takes in all the new information he gets and he just keeps adding and fitting it all into the same web. And he never stops to see if anything he's learning undoes anything he thought he already knew.
Jay, that was a perfect way to say that. Because I know when I was deconstructing, you know, even beyond religious stuff, I realized that like I didn't know what the hell I was doing with life. And so like you just said, I had to hit the reset button. I had to reapproach things and realize like, no, the way I think about things is totally off point. And now I have to reassess how I engage the world. And thankfully for me, that helped me lose 300 pounds. Because at the time I was 580 pounds. Well, I lost 380 pounds because now I'm 200 pounds because I realized I was engaging the world superstitiously. That I didn't hit, because I hit that reset button, I was able to seriously change my life in drastic ways. Wow. Yeah, Maya, I was 580 pounds. I got pictures to prove it.
Really hard to like envision.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, I think that's one of the things that's so beautiful about growth and change. Speaking of, you know, Pride Month and, you know, a lot of our friends, I only know the new you. You know, these people have been in my life for a while, and it's so hard for people to realize, but that when you change, you're gonna make some friends and people, and the old you is just gonna be a memory.
That's it. That's a powerful statement. I only know the new you. I think I'm going to make that a commitment to everybody that's in my life, to everybody that every time that they make a change or an evolution, that my commitment is to only know the new you.
That's right.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so they were making these people, but they couldn't make them fast enough. And these people couldn't have sex and reproduce on their own.
So
they got very frustrated. So ISIS says, okay, I have an idea. I'm going to take the egg out of one of the beings and put it in my womb and take it to term. So it says in the text that they literally mixed their genetics with this egg, put it in her womb. So that's now making what we call a...
There's no text that say that Isis took a womb, an egg from a
Did
clone.
the Atlanteans worship Isis? I'm just still having
just
such a hard
all
time
over the
keeping
place.
the lore together. I'm just like, who is this? And he meant sperm, y'all. He said genetics. He was trying to use a euphemism. He meant they mixed the seed and the egg, y'all. Y'all know what I mean by seed and egg, don't you? That's what he meant. They mixed it and then they turkey basted it up on in there or something.
And then they implanted it into Isis's womb.
I bet you it was like a sausage. They put it in an animal skin or something. I don't really know.
Oh, the sausage. God damn.
Zygote in modern technology terms, right? In vitro fertilization, puts it in her womb, takes it to term for 10 months, and then gives birth to the Adamu, which means first.
This isn't in any text.
Maybe when you're divine, you need a little extra bake time. You know,
I went through a period where I was looking at like a bunch of ancient creation stories because I was trying to figure out where the Bible was coming from. But I really do like other mythologies and like studying them and like what other people believed. I mean, they're interesting stories. It would have been interesting if I came across a story, but like nobody ever said this happened to ISIS. I don't know. Like,
but like this is what like absolutely pisses me off about these type of conversations is that I think us three can look at this and immediately know, hey, this is bullshit, right? Because if this was truly a intellectually engaging conversation, this person who's hosting this conversation would be asking for some type of evidence, some type of follow-up, some type of peer review. Who else agrees with you? And that's not happening at all.
No,
It's just tell me the story.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yep. Yeah.
First man. And there's a cylinder scroll in the British Museum where she's holding up the baby, says, "My hands have made it." The first man, Adamu. So that's where we get the first genetically perfected Homo sapien.
So before that, they were all...
They were Homo something, but they weren't like us. They couldn't reproduce. Like if you take a tiger.
They were Homo something.
They were Homo something.
I mean, like we actually do have a lot of homos. Like you just pick one.
I don't, y'all.
I'm sorry, not gay people.
We didn't
talk about the genus.
We didn't just get here naturally. We got here through a process of this long lineage of things that couldn't reproduce, and then the aliens came in. And then that part sound like a YouTube recipe. And one of them YouTube recipes you can't really follow because you're a regular person at home. You know,
it's like the meme of the alien fucking the monkey and then a man walking out.
That too, also very much.
You introduced a problem that couldn't possibly be a problem. You say, well, the people couldn't reproduce. Well, how the fuck are they here?
That's all. That's the part I'm not really too.
They were in the ISIS. They were in the like you guys aren't paying attention. They were in the ISIS homo making
vagina.
No, the facility. He was just talking about the.
So they come off the
reproduction line.
Yeah, they was gonna say it must have come off an assembly line or something.
Yeah, assembly line. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Remember, he was just talking about it. There's an ISIS facility and another facility over
that may
there.
Be the future. I can't see it in the past.
Okay, but y'all, I'm gonna just say, yeah, this is it, right? This is like the shamans and there's a part of us that needs to find the special and the touched amongst us and find productivity for all. I believe that.
Yeah.
But you do not follow these. You don't follow people who don't know where they're going, or even that the map is the representation of the territory that never mind.
No, I mean, that just sounds like some good grandma advice, baby. Don't follow nobody who don't know where they're going now. Don't do that.
Like, I want the touched people to have a place, but not this place. Yes,
Tiger and a lion and mate them. It'll have a ligand, but the ligand can't reproduce.
Right.
So that's the situation. That's what we had going on.
This is so fun. This is so much fun. It's so much more fun to listen to you and just believe everything. Yeah. I'm telling you, it is. I know there's people that listen right now like, oh, this is bullshit. Yeah, just get away.
Yeah.
Oh, he hears you. He heard you through the
screen. Yeah.
Hey, from that, and just enjoy today. Just enjoy.
I want them to research.
Are you enjoying it?
No. I'm not.
Search what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They can rewind and write this stuff down or type it in their phone. And start learning.
Yeah.
I want people to research.
He wants people to research. Just start typing it in your phone.
So facetious.
Yeah. Oh, he is. Yeah. Yeah, he wants you to do your research. Just type it in your phone, and you'll see that.
Wait, that's funny too, because there is a level of sophistry where people use technical and sophisticated language that you may not understand, and you may have to look it up later to sort of, understand everything they were trying to tell you. But what he is saying is, I know this might sound like complete gibberish, but if you look it up later, it will make sense. That's a totally different thing. He's saying it'll looking it up will actually make bro. We don't have to look this up to understand that none of these things go together. Yeah, exactly.
Because the real trick is, what will we be looking up? Which part will we? You've said like a million different things that don't equate. So what the fuck am I supposed to look up after this conversation?
Can you ask Jay to go on a rant about how cool it'd be if any of this was genetically true for humans? I don't
I know. Like, we're going to start with that.
I don't think it would be cool. I don't know.
Jay, what if aliens fucked the monkeys and bred a bunch of different races? What do you even do with that?
I mean, it would be kind of a cool story. I mean, but see, that's the thing. Like, we should be able to see evidence of that. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Yes.
And it's crazy, and it's crazier too that, like, how do you feel about that in relation to just like we're all one population that evolved out of Africa? Like, why do people, like Wayne brought it up earlier, why do they hate that story so much? It seems almost on brand. It's almost like the story they want to tell us, but they can't get excited about that story because it's not their story and it's not the thing. And it does feel like they don't like that Africa part.
Yeah, I love these little memes so much.
But I think that's the William Lane Craig theory. Like, William Lane Craig thinks, or something, he thinks a Jesus version, right? But he thinks like God had to give us souls at some point in the early stew. So I don't know how that works.
Neither does he.
Don't believe what I say, research what I say.
Yeah.
So what happens is, and we take people to these cloning centers when we take them to Africa on tour.
The cloning centers. Yes, that's what was happening before, the cloning centers. Oh, God.
And he's taking people to Africa, to the cloning centers?
Well, the aliens were.
All right, so wait, hang on. Wayne got me thinking though. So this would be fun. I wonder what it would be like if I started proposing crazy ideas to students like that and told them that actually what we were going to do in this class is we were going to start with some crazy shit like that the Atlanteans mixed with Shiva, you know, and they went into the lab and they indoctrinated, they impregnated a bunch of orangutans in a crazy lab, okay? And then have them start to make predictions about what type of evidence we should see and like what that looks like, and then have them start exploring the actual evidence. Because I do have the crazy idea, I think because I used to be religious and it's kind of in a weird way what led me to studying science, I do think bad ideas are sometimes great for motivation. Like, if it makes you want to study the real stuff, I kind of don't care what brings you to the dance. You know, like you could be like, I want to study astronomy because I think God is playing billiards with the planet. It's like, all right, cool. Come on to class. Like, come here. What would that look like? What do you think? Here, read this book. Tell me what you think. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we can start there if y'all want, you know? Like,
yeah. So, okay, when you teach that, what happens is you get a fuck ton of subs and a fuck ton of money.
So you're saying I should have been.
Sounds right.
It should have been done.
Right. Get in on the game, man.
Take every single year. Next one is coming up in October. And so the point I'm trying to make is, so we have the cloning center. The clones couldn't reproduce enough. And a lot of work was going into making these people. So they came up with Adam. This starts the generations of ISIS, the Genesis.
What the fuck?
Okay, so this is Richmond. So this is where these things come together, because I do think we're speaking to different cultures, and part of what we're trying to do is like convey, you know, like some of what this is like. And that's it, the minstrel thing. What bothers me is he's just a minstrel. There's a lot of that in our culture. There's a lot of like, it's the art of holding court, just holding court, holding the floor. It might be with jokes. It could be with a combination of stories and cooking. And sometimes it's cool if like your uncle can barbecue and he's an athlete, you're good, right? Because it's just going to be football glory and ribs and you're fine, right? But if they don't have that necessarily, it could be crazy esoteric reasoning, right? And like really dry shish kebabs. I don't know what this guy cooks, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's but there is a lot of that minstrel act, and it's very much pseudo-intellectual.
Magical Negro.
The magical Negro. Yeah, for sure.
Genesis isn't how it's spelled.
This was horrible. Generations of ISIS equals Genesis?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, oh man. No.
Because that's exactly what you would figure out if you read Genesis. Like I don't know how we all didn't see it before now.
The sad thing is, I have friends who would have heard him say that and would have been like, "Oh my bruh, my mind is blown."
Yes, exactly.
So what would they do when they weren't high or when they came down from the high?
Oh, damn. I think actually being high may have protected them from this food.
Yeah. The ones that get you is the teetotalers that be on this. You know, they sober as a mug, but they just be really into it. That's the ones that don't make no kind of sense. The dude that's liquored up and smoked a couple of blunts, he's just trying to have a good time. You could tell him whatever. He's just here for the story, you know.
Right.
But the ones that be sober over there taking notes, that's the ones I got questions.
You gotta look out for.
Yeah.
Where you get money from? Whatever.
Ooh, and Genesis is obviously the first book of the Old Testament.
Yes. I'm doing the math right now.
He really is. He's doing the math.
In other words, these motherfuckers
are stupid.
God.
That nigga just said he doing the math. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
God damn. Wow.
No, I mean, Jay's like, the sober ones that over there taking notes. The man bun over here got a goddamn computer taking notes.
Yeah. No, but that's also the aesthetic. That's also the aesthetic of these guys. Yeah, but see, and this is the thing. This is what happens when certain people, and I got questions about my man's over there in the Knicks and all of that. Like, what's he really supposed? He doing something to me? Like, what's
right?
Yeah, like why you here? Like, you looking like the real one, but I'm not hearing nothing.
Nothing. I don't even know what his voice sounds like.
Nothing.
I just want y'all to take a close look at that laptop. There's no way that dude can see anything that's on that screen with that laptop.
Very true.
That far in.
Very true. Nah, he not looking at nothing on that laptop.
Maybe he just fried his brain. It's like I'm supposed to be over here like looking at shit, but I just like, what do I do with this?
Matter of fact, I bet you did. I bet you he looked up a couple of things and then he just was like, I'm not even.
Yeah.
Whoa! So that's Adam.
Yes, Adam. Adam was then put into this Eden to mate with these other. They had mating times and schedules. You couldn't do it. You couldn't get back what you were talking about. You couldn't mate with somebody unless you were given a scheduled time to mate, or you get in trouble and punished. But no babies coming. So they said, damn it. So let's go ahead and take some of his DNA, clone that, make a woman.
Okay, so
they were mating, but there was no babies coming.
Right. I mean, well,
I told you
there was
y'all
no
they put
woman.
I told you they put it in the animal skin.
I mean,
That's why there was no baby coming.
we threw Adam in with a bunch of lions and shit. Wasn't no babies coming.
That definitely sounds like the activity of a higher intelligence, right? A higher intelligence doesn't know that species can't crossbreed. They're just figuring that shit out on the fly.
I mean, in fairness, the Bible kind of says that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it do say people like to give it to their animals.
Well, no, I mean, it's like, okay, God created Adam, put him in the garden. Adam named all the creatures. Mm-hmm. And Adam was like, I need a helper. And he couldn't find a single animal in the garden that could meet his needs.
Which means there is a common theory that Adam fucked all the animals and then was like, hey, this isn't satisfying. I need something else.
He was looking.
I actually did, when last time Dr. Kip was on here, I asked him about that point blank. I'm like, did Adam fuck every animal?
Oh my goodness.
And I mean, all Dr. Kip said was, I mean, it's kind of what B.S. Lewis was saying. It was like
you can't prove
according to some understandings, that's what happened.
Yeah, it could be read that way. And this is coming from a biblical scholar who understands it in its original language.
In the original tongue.
Dispel that.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Just say it.
So they made Eve. Then she got pregnant. Okay, this works. They were not.
Wow. Mating the same animal species together, yeah. ends up in a baby. Yeah, they had to learn that.
Doesn't this undermine the idea that this was an advanced intelligence? If they had to learn that through experimentation, how does this make them advanced?
Right.
How does this make them have an understanding of the science of humanity? Like this is
just a dumb version of the garden myth with just like a bunch of extra useless technology.
Yeah, I mean, it just
it's like the sci-fi version of the Garden of Eden.
Oh man.
The first humans on this planet, they were probably 1 million in at that point. Okay? So people who think that 8 billion people that we have now on Earth came from 2 people have never studied genetics. Because if I start mating with my sister and so forth and so on, by the second generation, third generation, we're going to have a whole bunch of people with disabilities and one eye and arm.
That's not how incest works.
No,
it's not.
Like I'm not in favor of incest, but we have a lot of fucking examples of incest.
India would be horrified at these assertions right now.
Yeah. And honestly, we do probably stigmatize it in a way that's not
not healthy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if it keeps people from fucking their sisters and cousins, I mean, that's cool. But yeah, I mean, people think that, okay, well, if you have a baby with your brother, and don't do that.
Please don't.
It's just going to come out with like one eye and 3 toes and that's, I mean, the biggest problem with inbreeding is that it dilutes the genetics, right? Like,
recessive mutations. You're just more likely to be.
You're more likely to get whatever is there. It's better to dilute. Because that means you're less susceptible to like what do you call it? Viruses, or having your entire population like just.
But see, the funny thing is same. It's literally the case for admixture,
right?
And it's literally according to that same logic. It's better to mix populations, right? Like this is something that's like very interesting. Is that people have not yet realized that that's another taboo that doesn't actually add up.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, and it really depends on what you're talking about, and like what you mean by incest. I think that I was watching a video and it was talking about this. Oh God, what were they called? It was this group in Africa where there was a mutation, and I think they were like the claw people. Has anybody heard about this? And they decided that it was beautiful, that it was it meant that they were higher beings. So they encouraged the claw people to only breed with one another. And again, they're not telling brothers and sisters to mate with one another. It's more like cousins. And so you get to the point where you lack the genetic diversity, where the entire population is genetic cousins.
Yeah.
Even if they're not actual cousins. And that was becoming the issue. And the population, which, used to have a couple hundred people, had died down to like tens of people. And
wow.
But we're talking about over a couple hundred years, not 2 or 3 generations.
Right.
Or even Cleopatra. I think that is it you should have 16 great grandparents? She had 8.
Oh.
And I mean, she was brilliant for her time, at least. And
yep.
I mean, I don't know. I think people don't really understand why incest is.
To his point, they don't study genetics, but I don't think he does either.
Yep.
Clearly.
I think we tend to conflate social norms with scientific standards a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So things that we've become to know as socially damaging, we often conflate with scientifically damaging. This is bad because this must, biologically impact you some way. And the problem is the people who are making those statements are not biologists.
Or anything smart.
Yep.
Arms broken and small legs and all kind of stuff. You can't make 8 billion people. Not enough genetic diversity.
Right.
So.
Like he almost has it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost has it.
Yeah, like I just it's kind of backward though. We know from studying the genome that we have too much diversity to have come from two people.
Right.
It's like you heard it and was like,
yeah, so Adam and Eve, correctly. Though, right?
Right.
Oh, that's why they had the specific mating times and the people that you could mate with to make sure that they were not creating a small genetic pool.
So we have to have mating times to make sure that we're not fucking our sisters. What does that even mean?
Hey, Becca, you're not fucking Randy today, okay?
He just doesn't. And the funny thing is, too, is like and this is what I mean about these stories not being satisfying. Okay, here's a perfect example. Here's another creation myth. Is this how you would schedule it? Right? We now have enough information about ovulation cycles and fecundity and all of this that people do time these things. Is this at all what it looks like? No, this is why they synced up and you had to mate with certain people at specific times of the day. Bro, that's not how this works. It's like a general window and you gotta give it what you got. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't understand what he's saying. It's just like, well, we had to put them on schedules to make sure that we had enough diversity. Because if we don't put people on sex schedules, they'll just start fucking anybody.
Yeah, and then again, he said they weren't reproducing, so maybe that's the problem. Yeah, they had them on this very specific schedule, and none of it was happening at the. I can't. Right? I'm trying to make it make sense. No, play the tape. Play the tape. My brain is trying to make it make sense.
Once they figured that worked, they said, "Okay, let's isolate them in a certain part of the garden and begin to do this experiment with them."
Well, that doesn't lend to genetic diversity.
Not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just looking at him like, yeah.
Like, they know he's full of it. They gotta know.
They really do.
They really do. They really do. They're not buying any of this.
So Adam had Cain and Abel, and Yahweh came back to check on his offerings one day. And, one was bringing him the harvest, one was bringing him the lamb. And one got jealous because he kept taking the harvest. And he's like, you know what, I'm pissed off. I'm going to kill my brother, right? So Cain kills Abel. And God comes back like he doesn't know this. He's supposed to be all-knowing and omnipotent. He doesn't know that this happened. He's shocked that this happens. And he says, I got to kick you out of the garden. And so Cain says in the Bible, he says, the people out there will kill me. Wait, what people?
I thought there's no people.
I thought there was no people out there.
Wait, were there no people or were there millions of people?
I'm just realizing this is literally just the curse of Ham.
Mm-hmm.
He really about to go there.
This is so much syncretism till it's absolutely pathetic. And the sad thing is, this is not just offensive to critical thinking. This is offensive to all of the stories that he is combining. There is not one group of people whose stories he's hijacking that would not be offended by the way he's projecting these stories.
B.S. Lewis did call it.
There's people out there already. Matter of fact, they might be barbaric. So he says, don't worry, I will put my mark on you. See, that's the brand. Put my brand on you. So he said, so that they will know your minds. So he put a brand on and let people know, hey, no, that's Enlil's guy. Don't mess with him. Exactly. That started the whole Canaanites. You see? That's where the Canaanites came out and built the whole thing and eventually migrated over.
So the Canaanites are of Cain? Is that where we're going with?
See, this is why I have no respect for Joe Rogan and the people who do this stuff, because this is incredibly patronizing. It's very clear that the guy the host does not believe any of the bullshit that he's saying, but is having no problem platforming it for profit. And that shit is a little disgusting to me.
I mean, he pretty much said it though too. He was like, some people might say this is total bullshit.
Yes. Yes.
Some people. We're not gonna name names.
Not this guy, but some people who the thumbs are pointing at might think this shit is bullshit.
Oh God.
Over to Mesoamerica. So we're talking about, and it's a big story, man. It's a really, really big story, but
wow,
you can see where there's so much misinformation and
so Jesus, good guy or bad guy?
I believe it was a good guy. I think some of his words were twisted in the New Testament.
Yeah.
He never said, I don't believe he would say anything about slavery. If you really look at the words of Jesus, what he's teaching.
Whoa.
Wait, slavery?
Whoa.
What did Jesus say about slavery?
He didn't. It's typically Paul's words that we take on slavery. Jesus doesn't have any words on that particular subject.
Nor does he speak out against the LGBT community.
No.
Jesus, go ahead.
You go ahead. You go ahead. I was just going to.
I was going to say the following opinion is mine and mine alone, but
oh God,
the coons know why they got the call. They understood the assignment. And they just had to say, Jesus, good guy, bad guy. And he was just ready. I don't think he would say anything about slavery. I personally don't think he really liked slavery. Yeah, he wasn't a bigot in any way, shape, or form. He knows what he's there for. He understood the assignment.
Yeah, that was some fancy tap dancing, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was ready.
I like to remind people that Jesus praised a poor woman for giving her last to the temple, and also told people that any of the poor who was given something and did not manage it properly, it should be taken from them and given to the rich. And just in case people forget, Jesus called a woman a dog unapologetically. And I like to remind people that the Great Commission is code word colonization. Yeah. Go out and make disciples of everybody and make them do what the fuck I said. That's right. Colonization.
Yeah, and let me give you another one. I just thought of that. I love the Jesus, meek and mild. He really only had 2 commands, and they were love God with your whole heart and love your neighbor. And then you say, okay, Jesus, well, how do I love God? If you love me, you'll keep my commands. This motherfucker.
and then mind you, the same Jesus that says the poor will inherit the earth also says the earth will pass away. So just remember that. Yeah. It's a fucked up deal.
It comes from Thoth the Atlantean. So either he is Thoth the Atlantean, or he was taught by Thoth the Atlantean, or
Jesus is Thoth the Atlantean.
So he's combined Egyptian mythology at this moment with Atlantean mythology.
Yeah, no, we've been doing that the whole stream. Try to keep
Yikes!
Wait, I want to go back.
If you really look at the words of Jesus, what he's teaching, it comes from Thoth the Atlantean. So either he is Thoth the Atlantean, or he was taught by Thoth the Atlantean, or he studied in the mystery schools to get that same knowledge.
Right.
He studied to get the same knowledge as Thoth the Atlantean.
And the sad thing is that there is a safer route for him to take to connect Jesus to Egyptian mythology. So one of the parallels between the Jesus character and Egyptian mythology is that Egyptian mythology typically only talks about the kings up until they're 12 and then picks up on their lives when they're 30. There's an 18-year gap. This is something that you often also see with Jesus. You hear about Jesus' life up until the moment he's 12, and then you hear nothing else until he's 30. That's Jesus the younger and Jesus the elder. So if you wanted to try to bring this in Egyptology, there are some honest ways to do that. I don't know what this motherfucker's coming from, because that shit made no sense whatsoever.
I feel like he's just sitting there making shit up as he goes.
I also just feel like white Jesus is at least not the character we get, and I've never felt black Jesus is either. Like that story is a story about a Jewish man, and I'm sitting here like, is it anti-Semitic to say Jesus wasn't Jewish or something? Like, Jewish, I don't know. Yeah, it just feels Bro, you're making me uncomfortable, man. Like
that's like saying Malcolm X wasn't black.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I line up the verses in my book, Compendium of the Emerald Tablets. I line up the words side by side so you can see what Jesus is saying was already said thousands of years prior.
Right.
He's teaching the ancient mysteries, and he's trying to get mankind to enlighten himself through consciousness.
But though the Atlantean was doing it to subjugate the human species.
No, he was helping. He was helping. He went around the planet helping.
He was helping.
Oh, so he was helping.
Yeah,
he
he
was
was
helping.
the original
The
savior.
planet helping. So now he's a Mormon. Because he has Jesus that's traveling around the planets.
See, I'm leaving. I'm leaving the Mormons alone today. You know, I'm being. You know, we got LDS in the chat. You know,
I appreciate it.
We appreciate y'all being
bed.
here.
He might come back and watch the rest of it tomorrow. People like
I
to do that.
I will say this: stunning temples. No, like sincerely, like breathtaking architecture. Like yeah.
Are we still talking about Mormons?
Yeah, the temples. Like
I've never seen a Mormon temple, I'll be honest.
Oh yeah, it's something to behold.
Space Jesus.
I mean, human art is always beautiful.
You know, I'm also leaving Space Jesus alone. Shout out to Richard Mattson. I come in peace. You know. See, ready to riff on Space Jesus, but we got Space Jesus friends out here. You know what I'm saying? You got to be ecumenical about it.
I may prefer Space Jesus than Calvary Jesus. I may be okay with Space Jesus. He may have a better story.
I was gonna say I know a guy, but let's not. So it's not.
All right, we're going 2.5 hours. I asked you guys to come for 2, so we got halfway through. So we got more than halfway through.
That's good.
Halfway plus 2 minutes. I'm proud of myself.
Yay!
That was a lot.
Because me and Jay, we could shoot the shit. Jay, who are you? Where are you? What do you have?
Pocket Locker 86. Coming up this week. This week's gonna be crazy. I'm gonna have to do my job this week. But yeah, come over for streams, hot program. Like I said, I got a debate in July coming up on Michael Beverly's channel on the 19th. We got a little something we working on that we're putting together with Durante and Maya and a few of your other favorite YouTube characters. So stay in touch for that. And yeah, thanks so much for having me here.
All right. And Durante Lamar, who are you? Where are you? And what do you have coming up this week?
Of course, you can find me on Durante Lamar on at Durante Lamar on YouTube. And this week, I have a few things coming up. I know next Sunday, I'll be on with Tim Mills and the Harmonic Atheist. He is doing a show bringing on some ex-pastors to kind of talk about some things that he's going to ask us some questions. And then on my channel, we're launching the ex-pastor call-in show on in the first Sunday in July. So for those of you who've had any questions you've ever wanted to ask a pastor, we're going to be pretty much no holds barred in this kind of type of conversation. And anybody who's deconstruction, deconverting, or just trying to figure out life after faith, that's really what we're here for. You know, we're not really just here for the people that are letting go, but for the people who are looking for something to grab hold to. And we just want to help humanity be the best that they can be. And again, that's me in a nutshell.
All right. And yeah, if you want to see more of the three of us, plus a few other people, this is us. This is how this is our mix. This is who we are together. Hope to see you. More to come as that kind of pulls itself together. Next week, I believe I have Brentley Punk Apostate. So if you want to know how to get a deal on some sex toys, come back this time next week.
Oh, okay. All right.
I like sex toys.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're sex positive over here. So like I say, we are sex positive, pro slut.
Yeah, you know, shout out to all the Kinksters, right? It's Pride Month.
Yes.
And so we should send some love to your Kinkster friends.
Kinksters, gimps, everything that's out there. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, Durante, God, you've been working all day. Happy Father's Day. Did you
Thank
do
you.
anything?
We celebrated yesterday, and I am a very simple man, so me and my family, we hadn't been to Shoney's in a while.
Oh,
So
is
we
that
just
still
went to
open?
Shoney's. It is in Alabama for some strange reason.
Huh.
Wow.
Okay.
And we went just to
All
make
right.
other people uncomfortable with our conversations. And that's what we
Nice.
did.
No, that is awesome.
That's a dying art, actually.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. You know what? That's a great idea for a show. It's just like a bunch of people just meeting up to just talk at a diner and just see everybody else around them reacting.
100%.
Get the reaction shots. Yeah.
Because my kids are all atheists and they all have voices like mine that kind of carry. So it gets very awkward in public spaces really quick.
That's fantastic.
That is. Slut Power. I love it. I'm gonna have to get
Yes.
yeah.
I think I've
need
seen that movie. I think I've seen that movie.
Slut Power. I'm not gonna ask you which tube you saw that movie on. No.
Salt Lake City is awesome. Awesome.
I've never been. I hear it's nice.
Place.
I've
yeah,
never
it's
been.
really nice.
All right. So everybody, thank you for coming. I hope you had a great time this week. If there are any dads in the chat, happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day.
It's hard, and you deserve a day of celebration. All right. So we're getting out of here. Anybody got a catchphrase?
Said I'm gone.
All right.
Booty, 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 rocking everywhere.